Welcome to a new review video of mine, and today I will be reviewing the ReoLink Argus 2 battery operated Wi-Fi or IP camera. And as you can see on the picture, this is an IP camera, but it also has a solar panel because one of the optional extra that you can order for this camera is a solar panel. So I got this free of charge from ReoLink for this video. So the good thing about this model is, well, as it says, it's battery operated, so you can install it in places where otherwise you wouldn't have mains power. And because it's Wi-Fi, it doesn't need, cables either. So pretty much you can move it anywhere as long as you have Wi-Fi reception, which is really good because I found a really nice place for this camera, which is out in the canopy over my driveway. So it's looking down on the, sort of the driveway and where we come into the house. And of course that place has no Ethernet or no power. So I just, place the unit and the solar panel on a piece of wood, and it's basically held down by a couple of cinder blocks so it doesn't get blown over by the wind. And this is where it is at the moment, and that's where it's monitoring the, the surroundings for the last couple of days, and this is how I'm testing it. So far I have about even probably less than a week experience since I've received this product and when I'm making this video. I almost said in the beginning that welcome to another video in my home automation and open hub series, but unfortunately this is not, and that's mostly because of me. ReoLink contacted me a couple of weeks ago and they wanted to know if I'm interested in their IP cameras, and the fact is I do like IP cameras and security systems in general, well mostly cameras I would say. So I jumped onto the occasion and I had a fairly quick look at their website. And unfortunately, I haven't spent enough time researching on the different options and what they have. And I pretty much picked the battery-operated camera in the beginning. That's something that I quite like. But I also quite like some of the other features that I found on their website, which is like Google Home integration and RTSP feed and some of the other nice integration topics. After I received the camera and I've started looking into it, I realized that actually these are not entirely true, because some of these features, for example the Google Home integration, is only available in certain markets, which is US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. You're just going to see a page on their website how it gets set up, which I guess I can understand because these are the regions where the Google Home is available. I think there are a few more markets, but like in Hungary, Google Home is not available, so I bought mine from the US. So that makes sense that the integration doesn't work in this region. I mean, it could, but hey ho, so it doesn't. Maybe it gets rolled out to multiple countries in the future. And the other thing is I was particularly interested in the RSTP stream because that I can easily integrate into Node-RED. And it turns out this stream is not supported on battery operated cameras, which again is something that I can understand because, well, if you are not careful and you are watching the stream all the time, then you are probably going to drain the battery really, because keep in mind that these battery operated cameras are designed so that they only record or they only trigger when there is movement detected or when you are looking at the feed over the app, but otherwise they stay in a sort of like a very sleep mode, a low energy consumption mode. And by the way, you can see the various articles on the screen now where they explain how ReoLink camera supports the RTSP stream, and also they support an image capture option. So you just point your browser to URL and you will receive a JPEG, which is the actual snapshot from the picture. So I think these are great home like DIY integration options. But again, so these are the ones that are not available on the battery operated cameras. So that's a bummer. I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed about that. But having said that, I got the camera, I installed it, I've been playing around with it after a few days, and actually I've installed it in 2 different places, and yeah, I'm quite happy. If you have watched my video on the Wi-Fi doorbell, well, that had some issues with the sort of the Wi-Fi range and how it detects motion and the image quality. And definitely this device supersedes that in every single respect. And it's a, it's a nice design. It pretty much works as advertised, or as you would think these units have to operate. So this is definitely a, much better option to any of these sort of no-name cheaper cameras. Of course, as you can see, the price is also higher, so you are paying for the extra quality. And let me just highlight these three things. So first of all is the Wi-Fi reception. So the camera is at the moment, it's on top of this sort of canopy. And this is, I would say, the really edge of how far my router reaches outside my house. So I've noticed in the app that sometimes it cannot connect to the camera, so I'm not getting the feed. But if I go to the same spot with my mobile phone, which is, I mean, it's not the most recent one, it's a Galaxy S7, but that also struggling to reach the Wi-Fi signal. So that it's still a lot better than, you know, most of the other devices that I had in my hand, which they were much worse reception than the phone itself. So at least this is pairing with the phone. And the ReoLink must have done something with the motion detection as well, because I would say that it works surprisingly good. So the first installation that I had was in the on the playhouse that I did for the kids. And so it is, you know, sort of like looking down in an area which is, you know, fairly close. There is only one, you know, big tree in the view. And I set the sensitivity medium, and I hardly got any, you know, false alarms. So as you can see on the pictures, maybe the detection is not immediate. So the recording only starts when I'm sort of like halfway in the frame, but it definitely detects every time I'm walking by. And actually, I don't remember getting any false alarms. And then later I moved it to the current place, which is like in top of this canopy, which I would say it's a really challenging area because there is a lot more movement in the frame. The street is also in the view. You can see the cars passing by. There is a lot of trees that can, you know, move around. And I've immediately noticed that I had to lower the sensitivity to low. But after doing that, I think it was, you know, it was pretty good. I'm getting some false alarms, but I mean, most of the alarms are genuine alarms. Like, you know, I'm coming in, I'm walking by, I'm taking out the trash, I'm moving to, you know, check my mails. Probably the only thing I would say is that it would be nice if I could set something in the program to, you know, not to send an alarm within a certain period of time, because, you know, this is a setting where I'm moving in and out of the view quite often. So, you know, I get an alarm when I get in. Maybe I need to go back immediately to close the gate. I don't know. I don't want to get another alarm because, yeah, I know it's there. So maybe just create a recording, but, you know, don't send multiple alarms in, let's say, in a 5-minute period. So in terms of this review, I'm going to have a separate piece on the unboxing and the various bits and pieces. And I'm also going to go to the talk about the initial setup, but I think in the beginning I'm just going to go through how the app works now that I've been using it for a couple of days and I, you know, pretty much know how to operate it. The app itself is available for iOS and Android, so I'm going to use the Android version. Although my wife has an iPhone, so I've installed the iOS app on her phone, and yeah, it's pretty much the same. And there is also a client app. So if you want to monitor your camera from your desktop, then you can use the client app. I don't think that the client app has a lot of use for this particular battery operated camera, because I would say that the client or the desktop app is usually used so you can, you know, look at multiple of your devices and, you know, make recordings on your hard drive and 24/7 surveillance. Because of the battery operated nature, that's not going to work for this camera because it's just going to drain the batteries in no time. This is how the app looks like once you have added the camera. So as you can see, I have only one device, so I named it Garden, so you can just only see the garden. You don't get a live feed immediately because, again, you are just seeing the last picture that you received when you used the app for the last time. But you are getting a few things on the battery status, which is pretty much charged because the solar panel is in a fairly good place. It is getting, you know, a couple of hours sunlight probably every day, and we have some really nice days in the last week. Also, the app is integrated with their sort of like online stores, so you can just access the store from here, and then you can look at deals and register your product and that sort of stuff. Okay, but when it comes to the camera, so you have two buttons on the front screen. You have the PIR and the settings, and I like the fact that they put the PIR here, because if you don't want the motion detection, you can just disable it straight from here. Otherwise, you can go into the settings, and again, because it needs to connect to the camera, it takes a couple of seconds for the settings to come up. So you can see the battery status, which is 100%. It's pretty good at the moment. There is this option here that you can monitor the battery usage. It says for the last 4 weeks, so it doesn't show a lot of data at the moment. And honestly, I haven't seen this battery dropping below 100% with the solar panel so far. But winter is coming, so I guess that's going to happen. You have a few options to set things on the display. If the camera is upside down, you can rotate the display, you can display the camera name, you can set the default quality. And then PRI settings, these are the usual settings that you find with these cameras. Just keep in mind that you see a lot of these loading screens, because the camera is really the edge of my Wi-Fi network. When I had it in a different place, these screens usually load within a second. You can enable the PRI, you can set a schedule, so it only works certain periods of the day, and you can set the sensitivity. It's basically low, medium, and high. These are the three settings you have. Then I go back to the main settings screen. Recording. I obviously set the recording to yes. Alarm sound. That's actually quite nice. If you enable that, when there is a motion detected, the camera is going to play an alarm sound, which I think you can hear now. And it's interesting. I don't think I would ever use that, but yeah, that may be a good idea for somebody to use. Email. Once you have a motion detection, you can have an email set up so you receive an email, or in the top buttons there is a push. So if you click that, that's how you can enable the push notification within the app for this specific camera. You can set record audio, whether the status LED is shown on the camera, and also the infrared lights. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you can get some info here where it shows you the IP address and the build and some of the other details of the camera. And you can change the Wi-Fi from here as well. And under more, you have a few more options like upgrade, set the date and time, or you can look at the storage on the SD card. So I have a 32 gig SD card in, but because it only records motions, which are usually like 5 megabytes, well, it's going to take ages to fill up this memory card. So that's pretty much the settings, and you can access the very same settings from the desktop app as well. So if you feel like that it's easier to change your settings on the desktop, that could be a reason to install the desktop application. And once I go in, so once I click on the screen, then it starts loading the stream. And again, it depends on your Wi-Fi connection, because now my camera is really struggling. It takes a long time. Normally it takes about like probably 5 seconds. In terms of the features here in the app, you have the pause and the take a picture and take a video. So that will, you can pause the stream, or you can just start the stream again. If you are on the 3G network, you are getting just another piece of text which says, please be aware that you are playing these videos over a most probably meter network. You can see the network usage as well. So I'm looking at a standard definition feed at the moment, so it doesn't use a lot of bandwidth. But here you can change between fluent, which is sort of like the low resolution or standard definition, and full HD. And the other few settings here is just you can rotate it landscape. And then two buttons on the top, the bell button. So that's the one where you can manually trigger the alarm sound. And the other one is just you can turn the speaker on. So you can also hear what the device hears with its microphone. So it's just background noise at the moment, so there's nothing here. And of course you can talk. So it's two-way audio. And you can also select playback, which changes to a very nice playback screen. So here you can, again, look at your timeline. You can look at a specific day. And when you select a particular recording, then it starts playing that recording. And I have to say that even though I really like this location of the camera, I think I would eventually have to move it because the Wi-Fi connection is getting too unpredictable, and I'm just not getting a good enough response back from the camera, which I know it's capable of, because when I had it on the Playhouse, much closer to the router, again the response was really quick, just a few seconds. And once you've selected the clip, it also changes to a download icon. So if you click on it again, then it takes you on another screen where you can download up to 30 seconds of the video, which I think it's more than enough, because most of my recordings are like 7, 10, 8, 15 seconds. But if you would have a really long recording, you can just cut the part that you really want. So the camera comes in this rather sizable box. It's nice black design. You can see the camera and the solar panel here, and it's only the logo and a few things on the side, and a couple of specs and warranty and terms and privacy things on the side. And yeah, you can see a few mounting options and other small bits of information. So to open it up, it says, do not accept if the seal is broken. I've already broken the seal, it doesn't came broken. So you get a few things in a box. So we get 2 of these, I guess it would be quick start guides. It's a nice printed paper, attention to detail, quite like it. And then here we have the camera. And that's the battery, and I think that would be the mount. And under the package we get a foam packaging and the solar panel with its wire. And what else is here? Oh, that's another mount. That's the mount for the solar panel. So let's inspect anything a little bit closer going backwards. So this is the solar panel, and as you can see, it's an older sealed unit. It says 3.2 watts, 6 volt, 530 milliamp hours. And there is a screw mount on the back. It's probably the same type of screw as a camera mount. And well, there is a fairly long lead. And you get the mount, which looks like this. So it's fairly rigid. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. So you loosen this up and then this just moves around. And if you tighten it down, then it fixes in that position. And by the way, this is metal. And the rest of the stuff is here. So we have this silicone case, which goes over the camera with the battery. I think this is for probably extra protection. You also get this type of mount, which I guess you can release this metal back plate, so you can screw it onto the wall and then just clip it on. And again, it moves around, and it has the same camera mount that we have seen before. We also have a strap. I'm not sure what this is going to be used for. We got a smaller strap. A micro USB to USB lead, and well, of course, the camera itself. So ReoLink Argus 2, 3.6 volts, 18.72 watt hours, and it shows you the default username and the password, and that's it. So the battery clips in here. There was some protecting film here over the camera, and also I'm guessing this is the motion sensor. You have some holes for the microphone and probably the speaker, and then there is a port here on the side for the micro SD card. And by the way, this thing comes off, so this is magnetic, So you can use this, and then the camera can be easily positioned like that. Or if you remove that, then you have the screw mount. So this attachment goes in like so. Quite nice. I think I'm actually going to like the magnetic one for starters. Especially if it's not in a place where it can be reached by anyone. And the battery clips on like this. Oh no, it slides on like this. Good, and you can charge the battery on the port here.
Camera has been started up. Please run ReoLink app, add the camera, and set it up.
Oh, okay. It's a much pleasant...
Please run ReoLink app, add the camera, and set it up.
Okay, got it. It is a much pleasanter voice than what you see in most of the, the knockoff cameras. So this is a very nice surprise.
Please run ReoLink app, add the camera, and set it up.
Okay, I don't want to listen to this too much, so let me just remove the battery for now. So, first impression, really good. Nice voice help. Okay, let me put all of this away and let's see what we got in the papers. So we have a quick start guide for the camera. We got this, which is probably the position of the screws. Yep, that's good. You also have a sticker that you are being under 24-hour video surveillance. That's another template for this mount. And there is another one, which I'm assuming it's for the solar panel. Yep, that's the quick start guide for the solar panel. You're getting the EU, FCC, whatever. Declaration of conformity, same stuff. Another mounting template, another sticker, and two quick start guides. Slightly different versions, it looks like. Oh, sorry, different languages. In the meantime, I read the documentation and I figured out what this strap is for. Because if you want to mount the camera on a tree, you can use this mounting bracket and thread the strap through these holes here and then, secure it onto the branch or the trunk of the tree. I've downloaded the app and it's called the ReoLink, and interestingly, you don't need to create an account in order to use the app, so you just start the app. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to add a new device. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the plus icon on the top left, top right, and now we need to allow the app to have access to our camera because we have to scan the QR code which is at the back of the camera. So of course you do that before you start connecting the battery. So with that we click on connect to Wi-Fi. And now we can connect the battery to the camera. By the way, I charge it with just a regular USB charger. And when you plug it in, you have an indicator light here, which will turn. It indicates red when it's charging, and it will turn green when it's fully charged. So I'm just going to install the battery, like so. And once
the camera has been started up, please run ReoLink app, add the camera, and set it up.
Okay, so we have just done that, and we heard the voice, so you click on I heard the voice.
Please run ReoLink app, add the camera, and set it up.
Okay, now you provide your Wi-Fi SSID and password. So I've just done that, and I click next. And now you have to point this screen to the camera. I have to admit, I don't know what difference I did, but I couldn't connect the camera to the account first, and then I just did the whole process again. So I just followed the app and pointed the camera to the mobile. I think what I've done is I've turned away from the windows. There's very bright sunlight today. Maybe there was too much reflection on the camera screen. On the mobile screen. But so I just did it again. I pointed the camera to the phone, and then it said, "Your connection successful, connected to the router," and then blah blah blah. So yeah, it's all voice driven, so it's you can't really miss it. Okay, so connection to the router succeeded. Yeah, that was the message that I got. and connecting to the device. Okay, it's doing some sort of initialization, and I have to create my login password. So let me think about what I'm going to do here. Okay, next I am going to name my camera. So I think I'm going to call it garden. I'm going to place it in a few different spots. So I'm just going to call this garden. I think that's going to be fine. And if okay, initialization finished. Oh yeah, you get a couple of messages here that with this battery in it, it's not really designed for 24/7 surveillance. The whole thing is that you should be setting up for motion detection, and it records the motion in the SD card, and then based on that you can review the those recordings from time to time, or if you want to, you can always go online and see what the camera sees at the moment. So in most of the time the camera would be in a low power state. You have a couple of recommendation on how to place the camera, which you can see on the screen as well, but it's also mentioned in the manual. For example, just to make sure. So I just click on use now, and if I go to, oh, it's live. Hey camera. And as you can see, oh, okay, it's pointing to the mess in the kitchen. But anyway, so yeah, you are getting a live video feed. And there is a usual delay, which you get with most of these IP cameras. So that was my review of the ReoLink Argus 2 battery operated IP camera. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.